Friday NBA DFS. We have a 9-game slate to break down. I'm going to give you all the best plays to look at for both DraftKings and FanDuel using the help of the contest generator and the Sims tool at Stokastic.com. As you guys are watching the video, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and follow. Really do appreciate it. And if you're looking to sign up for our NBA package, which includes all of the data and information they have at Stokastic.com, sign up using the link that we have below. And now let's get into some of the lineups here. First thing I'm going to do is favorite my top 150 lineups. And now we'll look at the number one overall projected lineup here, starting with DraftKings, and then I'll simulate lineups out for FanDuel after this. Number one projected lineup for DK, it is Marcus Sasser, who I had a bunch of on the Wednesday slate, and it looked really poor in the early going. He had like negative fantasy points halfway through the second quarter, and then all of a sudden he exploded in the second half of that game, and Marcus Sasser once again projecting well tonight. So Sasser, Clarkson, Jayshawn Tate, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., Day'Ron Sharpe, LaMelo Ball, Santi Aldama, and Rudy Gobert. That is my number one overall projected lineup by simulated ROI for tonight's slate. Now we'll look at exposures and go position by position to see what it is that I'm getting the most of, starting at point guard. And at point guard, the core plays at the position are LaMelo Ball, Derek White, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Tyrese Maxey, and Marcus Sasser. So actually getting a lot of point guard exposure. A handful of these players have shooting guard eligibility as well, but I assume that means that a lot of my point guard spots probably going to be used up in the utility spot as well, because this is a lot of point guard exposure that I'm getting to. Underweight to the field here on Jrue Holiday, Teo Maledon, and Colin Sexton, most notably, as players I'm underweight to at point guard. Now let's go over to the shooting guard spot, see the core plays at shooting guard on DK. And at shooting guard, some guys that have point guard eligibility in Derek White and Jordan Clarkson, but then also core plays here, Jayshawn Tate and Desmond Bane. Not as many guys with as high exposure at the shooting guard spot. I think that means a lot of our guard spots can be taken up by players with point guard eligibility as opposed to the shooting guard eligibility. And then also here underweight to Jrue Holiday, and then as well as Jalen Green and Colin Sexton as far as shooting guard eligible players that I'm underweight to. Small forward, I'm underweight to core plays at small forward. Almost at underweight there. Small forward, core plays, Jayshawn Tate, Kyle Anderson, and Gordon Hayward. Underweight at small forward to Azur Thompson. Hardly getting any exposure to Brandon Ingram. That could change. We right now have Zion Williamson listed as questionable. If Zion's ruled out, Ingram would certainly project better. And then also underweight here to Tim Hardaway Jr. Let's go ahead and look at the power forward core plays of the night. Power forward core options to build around: Kyle Kuzma, who's just been on a tear for the Wizards as of late. I thought Jordan Poole was going to play a big role this year, and he has to an extent, but he's really taken a backseat to Kyle Kuzma, who's been the guy in Washington with Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis gone. So Kyle Kuzma, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trendon Watford, Danilo Gallinari, Kyle Anderson, Gordon Hayward, all power forward eligible players that have more than 20% exposure to. And then underweight to the field on Keegan Murray, who's fairly popular power forward, projected for 12.6% ownership. Also underweight to Karl Anthony Towns, Azur Thompson, and Kristaps Porzingis at power forward. Now let's go ahead and look at center. Center, we were getting a ton of exposure to Day'Ron Sharpe. Now, we're going to have to see what the Nets starting lineup looks like. The Nets are missing players once again tonight. The last time we were in this situation, Day'Ron Sharpe was a super popular chalk play, but then what ended up happening, he ended up coming off the bench and not playing all that many minutes. So we are going to want to make sure that Day'Ron Sharpe is starting today before we load up on him. But at the very least, as of right now, he does look like the number one overall play on the slate as far as points per dollar projections are concerned. Also getting two core plays at center: Jaren Jackson Jr., Trendon Watford, Rudy Gobert, and Şengün. So Gobert and Şengün, center eligible only. And then we talked about Triple J and Watford at power forward. And then if we look at players we're underweight to at center, underweight to Bismack Biyombo, underweight to Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis, and Domantas Sabonis. So that walks us through FanDuel, and now we'll build out DK lineups. I've already built out the lineups here, just have to upload them from the contest generator file. Now we'll click run simulation and see what ends up popping up. And talking a little bit more quickly about Day'Ron Sharpe, because I'm sure a lot of you might be thinking like, all right, why are the Nets projected to be shorthanded? Why is Sharpe projecting so well? So here's the current injury situation for the Nets. Cam Thomas is out, Nick Claxton is out, and Ben Simmons is out. So the big difference about the Nets this time that they're shorthanded as compared to the last time where we saw Day'Ron Sharpe be a massive chalk play is that we also have Cam Thomas out for the Nets, which just reduces one potential wing player for them to go to, which is why, as of right now, we are expecting Day'Ron Sharpe to be starting for the Nets, but, remains to be seen. We're going to need confirmation in terms of what that starting lineup looks like. But at the time I'm recording this afternoon, we are expecting Day'Ron Sharpe to start at center. Top 150 lineups on FanDuel in these lineups I just built out. Number one lineup: LaMelo Ball, Marcus Sasser, Cade Cunningham, Jordan Hawkins, Kyle Kuzma, Gordon Hayward, Jaren Jackson Jr., Kelly Olynyk, and Day'Ron Sharpe. So a lot of the sim players on FanDuel to DraftKings. A lot of the guys we liked on DK also showing up in our top projected lineup on FanDuel. And now, same deal. Go position by position to see which individual players we get the most exposure to. Starting at point guard, 4 plays: LaMelo Ball, Marcus Smart, and Cade Cunningham. So LaMelo got off to a really slow start this year, which was, concerning to an extent, except he was having games where he's shooting like 4 of 15 from the field and clearly was going to get better than that. And now we're seeing LaMelo playing without Terry Rozier in the starting lineup. He's also starting to get going. So LaMelo, I really like him in the short term with Terry Rozier being banged up and LaMelo looking like he's, just LaMelo again, which was not the case for a little bit. LaMelo looked, not just that his shooting was poor at the beginning of the year, but he also just kind of looked a step slow. And now it looks like we can feel better about LaMelo being back on track. So getting to a bunch of LaMelo on both sites, I don't mind getting to him at all. Underweight to the field at point guard, underweight to James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Mike Conley, and Drew Holiday as far as point guard eligible players. Shooting guard, what are we getting to here? Shooting guard, getting to a ton of Jordan Hawkins. He's been priced up a little bit on DraftKings, but remains a little bit too cheap here on FanDuel. And with the pricing generally being better on FanDuel this year than DraftKings has been really soft. Jordan Hawkins, somebody who really stands out on FanDuel. Cade Cunningham, Desmond Bane, Gordon Hayward, the other core plays for us here at shooting guard. And then we are underweight to the field to Keontae George, James Harden, Luke Kennard, and Mikal Bridges over on FanDuel. Hardly getting to any of Bridges right now. Let's check out the small forward options. Small forward we have as the core plays: Kyle Kuzma, Desmond Bane, Denny Avdia, Kawhi Leonard, and then Gordon Hayward. Kawhi's an interesting one because people don't want to play him, and I understand why. We've got this Clippers team that I don't know what the usage is going to look like going forward, but Kawhi is cheap. Like he's priced right around $8,000. He's got good possession eligibility with small forward and power forward. And I still think there's a real ceiling with Kawhi. So I think it makes sense to keep going to Kawhi here because, there's going to be a point where he's just too cheap. And I kind of think we're right around there. Even if you don't like the Clippers, you don't like the situation Kawhi is in, like you're telling me you wouldn't play him at 6,000, at 7. Like at some point, there's a price point you're willing to play him. This is the salary for me. Underweight to Luke Kennard, Harrison Barnes, Lauri Markkanen, Mikal Bridges, and Kevin Durant as far as small forward eligible players are concerned. So let's move to power forward. Power forward core options: Kelly Olynyk, Kyle Kuzma, Jaren Jackson Jr., Denny Avdia, and Kawhi Leonard once again. And then underweight to PJ Washington, Zion Williamson, Harrison Barnes, Lauri Markkanen, Kevin Durant, John Collins at power forward. Center eligible players, we are getting to, once again, a bunch of Day'Ron Sharpe as well as Kelly Olynyk. We have to see what Olynyk's role ends up looking like. We do have Walker Kessler out for the Jazz. I don't think that Olynyk has to come off the bench just because he came off the bench last game. I wouldn't be stunned if Olynyk starts today. And then even if he comes off the bench, still viable for this slate. One of the reasons that last time we saw him fail was because he immediately got into foul trouble and came off the bench, which really limited his minutes. I expect to see a bounce back in playing time for Olynyk tonight. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., another player we're getting to a lot of with center eligibility, underweight to Bismack Biyombo, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, John Collins at center. So I hope this helps you guys build your lineups out today. If you've not done it yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're looking to sign up for NBA package, which is going to include everything you need to win at NBA DFS this year. I've already had a couple of tournament hits, had one for $100,000 a couple of weeks ago. Wouldn't have been able to do it without the new tools we have at Stokastic.com. So come check them out. I think you're going to like it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. See you back here Monday.